on the virtual dais, faculty members, participants, and audience. Symbiosis Law School Pune, a constituent of Symbiosis International Deemed University, is proud to announce the 7th edition of the Symbiosis Law School Pune International Criminal Trial Advocacy, SICTA 2022. The past editions of SICTA have received overwhelming praise for the competence, the research and advocacy skills that are reflected throughout the course of the competition by the student community, and highly favorable reviews have also been given to the perseverance and skills showcased by the organizing college. The competition has continually received participation from renowned law colleges in India and from across the globe, including teams from China, UK, Poland, Malaysia, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, South Africa, and Kuwait. The event is sponsored by Sin Litigators, SLS Pune Alumni, Titan Company, EBC Reader, and SEC Online. The theme for the SICTA 2022 is modes of individual criminal liability relating to the use or deployment of autonomous warfare technology and allied assault weapon systems. This revolves around the procedural challenges faced by the International Criminal Court in interpreting treaties vis-a-vis international criminal law. The inaugural ceremony of SICTA 2022 is being graced by the esteemed guest of honor, Advocate Tapas Kantibol, prosecutor of the International Crimes Tribunal, Bangladesh, as well as the chief guest, Honorable Justice Mohit Shantilal Shah, former Chief Justice of Bombay High Court. As per our tradition, we will now commence with the program with the inaugural ceremony with a virtual lighting of the lamp. I would like to request the IT team to kindly commence with the virtual lighting of the lamp.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा शुक्लां ब्रह्मविचारसारपरमा आद्यां जगद्व्यापिनीं वीणा पुस्तकधारिणीम् अभयदा जाड्यान्धकारापहा हस्ते स्फाटिकमालिकां विदधतीं पद्मासने संस्थितां वन्दे तां परमेश्वरीं भगवतीं बुद्धिप्रदां शारदाम्। या कुन्दे.
Thank you very much. Now, to deliver the welcome address, it is my privilege to introduce Dr. Shashikala Gurpur, Jean Monnet Chair Professor, EUC LAMP, co-funded by the EU, Fulbright Scholar, Director, SLS Pune, and Dean Faculty of Law, Symbiosis International Deemed University. Dr. Gurpur is a distinguished academician and orator, having presented more than 325 invited lectures, workshops, seminars across the world, and is a pioneer of EU legal studies in India. With more than 27 years of teaching experience, which includes tenures ranging from NLSIU Bangalore to University College Cork, Ireland, she has more than 80 articles and research papers, 2 co-authored books, and 15 book chapters to her credit. She has guided national award-winning projects on community-based law reforms for National Law School of India in 1991. She acted as an advisor to research projects and publication of the Asian Network of Women in Communication, sponsored by the WACC UK. She has achieved community legal service project grants from 2007 until now in SLS Pune, with 3 minor research projects of SIU. And in 2017, she was also awarded the Erasmus Mundus European Studies Capacity Building Program with 6 countries cooperation grant for SLS Pune. Dr. Gurpur has been a former member of the Law Commission of India. Currently, she's a member of the Curriculum Development Committee of the Bar Council of India and the Academic Council of National Judicial Academy, Bhopal. She has been invited to be a member of the International Advisory Board of the Centre for Common Law in Europe, UCD Sutherland School, Ireland, for 3 years. She has also been appointed as the distinguished member of the editorial board of the Cyber Law University International e-Journal, the Association of Young International Criminal Lawyers, and Asian Law Institute, Faculty of Law, NUS Singapore, to name a few. She has been conferred with the annual Kittur Rani Chennamma Award in 2018-19 by the government of Karnataka for her excellent achievement in the field of education and contribution to women empowerment. She has been nominated as a member of the MCCIA Corporate Legislation Committee for 2020 to 22. And she's the project manager for 4 EU projects undertaken at Symbiosis Law School, Pune, and the chair professor of Jean Monnet Chair on EU Climate Justice, Law, Governance, Management and Policy, which is co-funded by the European Union. I would now like to invite Dr. Shashikala Gurpur ma'am to kindly deliver the welcome address.
Good evening, respected Justice Mohit Shantilal Shah sir, the chief guest of this evening's inaugural function. Respected Barrister Tapas Kanti Ball, the prosecutor of International Crimes Tribunal, Bangladesh, all the fellow faculty members who are on the dais, all the participants who have assembled here for the briefing and for this inaugural function from across the country, and all our dear students and other invitees who are present here. A very warm welcome to each and every one of you on behalf of Symbiosis International University, on behalf of Faculty of Law, which is home to 3 other law schools as well and almost 5,000 plus students, and also on behalf of our top management members, namely the Founder Chancellor Dr. S. B. Muzumdar sir, Pro Chancellor Dr. Vidya Ravdekar, and the Vice Chancellor Dr. Rajni Gupte. As the Dean of Faculty of Law and as the Director, I have the humility to share with you that this whole competition has been the byproduct of a deeper interaction between students and faculty about 7 years ago. I still remember that we bidded with many other national law schools. These national law schools in India are about 25 plus in numbers, and they are unidisciplinary universities. And these national law schools and us as private university, we bidded for International Criminal Court's trial advocacy competition, which is being hosted by ICC in collaboration with the Indian Institute, which wins the bid. We bidded with a lot of enthusiasm, preparation, research, but the swing was in favor of a national law school for obvious reasons that it had the state patronage. So our students did not lose their heart. They said, let's come out with our own version of ICC moot, because in India, international criminal law is something to which India is not very much a party in the treaties or conventions. Nevertheless, this international criminal law principles as part of humanitarian law would cover situations of war and war-like armed conflicts, which are very often reported in guarding India's border or in border areas of India in all directions, whether it is a question of refugees fleeing from Sri Lanka or the question of border areas, security and states in terms of their allegiance, population's allegiance or insurgency being committed by the neighboring states or the factions. So in all these contexts, principles of humanitarian law become very important. Our country not being privy to some of these provisions or conventions has been a greater challenge for people who are academics like us and for the judiciary as well. However, judiciary within the framework of legislation has dealt with many issues. When we did our research for our law theater, we came to know how judiciary has been very, very proactive in upholding humanitarian principles in issues involving nationals and refugees who have migrated from other countries. So given this background, Symbiosis Law School Pune's student team under the Student Bar Association thought, why not embark upon this adventure? So one of the students who was a gifted student in international law, who had a great litigious mind, I would say deeper knowledge of jurisprudence and research bent of mind, he drafted a fictional problem. Now that problem we could not simply pass off, even though we were scholars and teachers. We thought we will give it to a third party, a practicing barrister from UK who was settled in New Zealand, who was our visiting faculty, was invited to comment upon that problem. He commented that it was an excellent problem, very well drafted, very perfect. And that year, we sent a feeler to all our, we have about 59 international collaborations. So we sent it to all our collaborator law schools, and regular participants at DM Harish Memorial Moot in Mumbai as well, and Surana's international participants as well. We were successful to attract 5 international teams in the very first year. So thus has been the very successful and glowing trajectory of this SICTA or Symbiosis International Criminal Trial Advocacy competition. Now, the other facet that I would like to share with the honorable guests here is that we don't just see it as a kind of simply competition. We see it as co-curricular activity whereby our academic agenda is enriched. Our thousands of students, especially students who are studying the international criminal law, humanitarian law, criminal law, law of crimes per se, are made to witness this competition. The finals are witnessed and rest of the time they're witnessed, and the students of international humanitarian law are given an additional interesting assignment that they could act as the client, witnesses. You know, you have to examine 4 witnesses, so they pretend to be the witnesses. And even as witnesses, they have to study their responses, they have to study their interaction. So we see this as an avenue where batch by batch, students get opportunity to improve upon their knowledge of judicial process, litigation process, criminal law, trial process, their knowledge of international criminal law, their soft skills, their communication skills, their ability to simulate the real life exercise in an international criminal court. I'm very proud to share with you that one of our old students has been now working with an international tribunal in Africa. Soon after finishing his degree, he was co-opted as a researcher, and then he ended up being an employee in Africa, in the Rwandan tribunal. I have had 2 ex-students working as researchers in different tribunals. And thanks to Dr. Mulali, who has been always on some of these UN bodies, we had the opportunity of participating in the summer school on humanitarian law in 2019 with the greatest authority on international humanitarian law, Professor Shebis being one of the speakers and inaugural guests. So thus has been our deeper engagement with the internationalization of curriculum, comparative law approach, which sit with the DNA of Symbiosis International University, and the excellence of this law school in internationalization in an all-round fashion, not just exchange, not just facilitating learning cross-border, but also in bringing it into the curriculum. I must put on record that Justice Shah sir has been our greatest supporter. Always a yes whenever we requested his support in research or in blessing our students with his erudite speeches as the judging authority or guest. I'm also happy to place on record Barrister Tapan Kanti Bal sir has been so supportive to our students. He is the sitting prosecutor of International Crimes Tribunal in Bangladesh, that he has already trained 2 of our students as research interns, and braving this COVID-19's oddity of non-physical presence, he has been kind enough to give them the opportunity to learn online through him, and he has vetted their assignments and provided research opportunities. Sir, we request both of you to continue this support as we welcome you here. And also we want to tell you that this law school got its inception in 1977 as the first member of Symbiosis family. Symbiosis was never set out to become a university. It was a kind of association of Indian and foreign students in Pune under the leadership of Dr. Muzumdar sir, who then was a botany professor. And he wanted to bring these African students and Indian students together in order to assimilate them into Pune's little bit racially undertoned landscape. And then what happened was, as a link language, English was taught, and they started an English language teaching institute. However, the law school was a response to the then automobile and army laden landscape of Pune, where a lot of people wanted to do evening law courses. That time it was allowed. So this law school started as an evening law school because there was so much of demand. 3,000 applications were there in the first year itself. However, with the greater quality legal education experiments going on in India, this law school was one of the first, thanks to its Professor Emeritus, then late Advocate Ram Jethmalani, being the President of Bar Council, introducing the 5-year law program. So we were the front runners before National Law Schools took inception in running the 5-year law program. Secondly, we were pioneers, as Professor Lasya mentioned, in BBA LLB program and also in European legal studies, which is the first one introduced in India. For decades, we have had in international relations European studies, but nobody had the courage to do European legal studies, nor the expertise, so nor the platform. So we, in 2009, started the certificate program, and then we ended up winning a grant. And today we have 28 courses in European legal studies. And now we are running into the specialization stream of migration law and climate change policy and law being developed with the 4 European universities and a few Asian universities. Aside from that, we have had a lot of cross-border research and teaching and training, faculty capacity building as well. So such is the background. So this law school, ever since the national ranking began in 2000, has been consistently among the top 5, top 10 law schools. And last 4 or 5 years, consistently declared as the topmost private law school in the country, even in the national institutional ranking framework. It wouldn't have been possible but for a strong team of faculty, committed kind of leaders here, and top management support, and most of all, brilliant students. To enter this law school is not easy. 25,000 applications greet us every year. Out of them, only 300 make it to the final list. So you can imagine the kind of quality that we bring into this law school. I'm sure that Barrister Tapas would vouch for it. Tapas would vouch for it with the kind of researchers he has interacted with. So we are very happy to take this whole occasion forward, being supported by these 21 teams who have come here. And I welcome each and every one of them. And I also welcome their faculty if they're viewing this, and all other invitees and other law school friends and colleagues and other Symbiosis family law schools from Noida, Nagpur, and Hyderabad. A very warm welcome to each and every one.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for that welcome address, for setting up the one-of-a-kind event and tracing the roots and illuminating on its background, etc. You've not really emphasized on your own dynamic stewardship of this idea and the resilient impetus that you've provided, which is a major contributing factor to this success. Thank you, ma'am. So now moving on to the address of the guest of honor for the inaugural ceremony, it is my honor to introduce Barrister Tapas K. Ball, Barrister at Law from Lincoln's Inn, Advocate Bangladesh Supreme Court, and Prosecutor for the International Crimes Tribunal, Bangladesh. Having been trained at the top educational institutes in the entire world, such as the Salzburg Law School, the International Training Center of the ILO, and the University of Northumbria, he is a qualified litigant in criminal as well as civil matters, writ and alternative dispute resolution. He has over 12 years of experience in multi-jurisdictional litigation. Currently, he is the panel lawyer for several institutions such as the Sonali Bank Limited, the Ministry of Commerce, Government of Bangladesh, the Bangladesh Food Safety Authority, Bakrabad Gas Distribution Company Limited, and the Directorate of Government Accommodation in Bangladesh. He's also the legal consultant and advisor for the Bangladesh High-Tech Park Authority. He's a legal researcher for Manushar Jonno Foundation, the executive director for Empowerment Through Law of the Common People, adjunct faculty member in the Jahangir Nagar University and Bangladesh Open University. He's an executive editor for the Bangladesh Journal of Through Law of the Common People and Bangladesh Journal of Dalit and Minority. He's a labor law expert in the Bangladesh Institute of Labor Studies and a volunteer at the International Crime Strategy Forum. He wears many hats, but we are extremely honored and fortunate to have his presence with us today. I welcome you, sir, to deliver the Guest of Honor's address. Advocate Tapas Bol, could I request you to unmute yourselves, please? Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you,
Professor Lasha, for the kind introduction. I would like to thank our Honorable Chief Guest, Honorable Mr. Justice Mohit Shantilal Shah, former Chief Justice, Bombay High Court, and Dr. Shoshikala Gurpur, the Fulbright Scholar and the Dean of Faculty of Law, Symbiosis International Law School. In my experience, I would say that Symbiosis Law School's students are quite brilliant. Like, I never thought that online internship that we have offered to them from our International Crimes Tribunal, they would be so much proactive. I never thought it. But to my surprise, whenever there is a problem, for example, I want some judicial decisions, I just text them that this is the decision we need. And within 10 to 15 minutes or 20 minutes, they come up with the decisions, or at least something which will which helped me, at least in one occasion, to address the court within a few minutes. So I am really grateful to the interns. And I can tell Dr. Shoshikala that your students will rule the world one time, definitely, in ICC and in any international criminal law tribunal. In Bangladesh, for the students, that in Bangladesh, we have this International Crimes Tribunal because of the War of Liberation in 1971. That is when the rulers of Pakistan and the Pakistan Occupation Army actually attacked the innocent people of Bangladesh on 26th of March. And then they and their auxiliary forces, who are the local perpetrators, they committed international crimes like crimes against humanity, genocide, war crimes in Bangladesh territory. So right now, we are trying the local perpetrators of Bangladesh. The principal perpetrator, the Pakistan Occupation Army, could not be tried because of the international relations difficulties. You know, the international law does not allow you to try any country without the permission of the bodies like United Nations and things like that. So if Bangladesh unilaterally want to try the perpetrators, that would be the decision of the government of Bangladesh, and we have to wait for that. Apart from that, I would say that I have been judging the International Criminal Moot Court competition of the Leiden University, which is sponsored by the International Bar Association for last 3 years. So I am eagerly waiting to participate in this endeavor of the Symbiosis Law School. And I would say that this is quite new for me as well, or for anyone, because that you will be mooting on the trial stage. So mooting on the trial stage is always challenging, because in the mooting in the trial stage, you have to evaluate the statements of the witnesses, and also you have to evaluate the documentary evidences. So it is quite tough at times as a prosecutor, as a defense lawyer, to connect all the dots, to present before the court, because every case is a challenge and every case poses new questions to you. So I would love to see that how the young students, the Bar Association of the students, face these questions. And I have blessings for all the students and all the teams. I hope that it will be a fierce battle. I am waiting to see. And again, I would say that International Crimes Tribunals of Bangladesh, especially the prosecution team, is always there to help the students of Symbiosis or any students from India who wants to have a taste of the prosecution or how at least the prosecution team of Bangladesh evaluates the evidences. Now, the COVID situation in Bangladesh is quite developed. We don't have any patients for quite some time now. So I hope the students, if they want to come here and participate in the sessions physically and want to have an experience with the prosecution to hand-in-hand practical experiences, they are literally welcome. So in anything, I will be there to help you. If you have any questions, my emails are there with the department. I would love to have emails from you and to help you with the process of having the internship. And finally, once again, I would love to thank Symbiosis Law School for having me and giving me the opportunity to speak in this August occasion and this honorable moot court competition. I again, with all the blessings from my side to the students and all the teams, wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kind words of encouragement, as well as giving your insights into the criminal trial advocacy world from your own practical experience. Thank you very much. We will now come to the address of the chief guest. We are honored to have with us Honorable Justice Mohit Shantilal Shah, former Chief Justice of the Bombay High Court, former Chief Justice of the Calcutta High Court, and former Judge of the Gujarat High Court. An LLM degree holder from the Gujarat University, Justice Shah has practiced in the Gujarat High Court from 1976. He made rapid strides He made rapid strides in constitutional, civil, and corporate law matters. He was a standing counsel for many boards and corporations until he was elevated as judge on the bench of the High Court of Gujarat in 1995. He delivered a number of lectures and participated in law conferences and seminars, including international conferences. He was then elevated as Chief Justice of the High Court of Calcutta in 2009. He assumed the office of the Chief Justice of the Bombay High Court on June 26, 2010. It is our privilege, sir, to welcome you in this forum and to be able to hear a few words from you. I would now like to invite Justice Mohit Shantilal Shah to deliver the Chief Guest address.
Thank you so much for this kind introduction. Very good evening to you all. Dr. Shashikala Gurupur, Director, Symbiosis Law School, Pune, and Dean Faculty of Law. Barrister Mr. Tapas Kanti Paul, Prosecutor of the International Crimes Tribunal. Professor Kulkarni, Professor Shandelia, Assistant Professor Mrs. Vyakranam, Professor Dr. Jadhav, Deputy Director of the Symbiosis Law College, all faculty members, invited guests, participants in the competition from all over the world and India, and dear law students. It is indeed a matter of immense pleasure and pride to inaugurate the 7th edition of Symbiosis Law School, Pune's flagship international criminal trial advocacy competition in the year 2022. As Barrister Paul said, trial court advocacy is always more challenging than the advocacy before the appellate courts. The trial court advocates have to think on their feet. That is the most distinguishing feature which a trial court advocate would have, which the appellate side lawyers would not have. Symbiosis Law School has carved a niche for itself in the field of legal education, not only in India, but also at the international level, and is considered as one of the top law schools at international level. It is a privilege to inaugurate its flagship event, and I would like to thank the Symbiosis Law School Pune for giving me an opportunity to address bright young legal minds. Legal education in our country has undergone a change since the days when I graduated in the mid-1970s. The 5-year LLB program is rigorous and some might even say excruciating in its curriculum, which invariably makes the students work exceedingly hard. Fortunately for the students of Symbiosis Law School, they have an excellent faculty of full-time teachers as well as visiting professors. I recollect attending a conference organized by the Bar Council of Maharashtra and Goa at Pune a few years back, I think some 8 or 9 years back. Mr. Ram Jethmalani was one of the speakers at the conference, and he was introduced as an eminent senior advocate and a former union law minister. When Mr. Jethmalani started speaking, he was visibly upset and he almost felt offended because He preferred to be, he did not like being introduced as a former union law minister. He said he would prefer to be introduced as a law professor. And proudly stated that he was a visiting professor at Symbiosis Law School for several years and teaching law was his passion. So, friends, you have had the good fortune of having such eminent visiting professors and full-time teachers. But besides strong theoretical framework, practical training and simulations are also equally important for an enriching, wholesome education experience at a law school. And hence the importance of co-curricular activities such as moot courts, model United Nations programs, writing research papers, doing internships, etc., cannot be and should not be discounted in students' life. This valuable experiences gained in law schools prepare you for the vigors of future professional life, and therefore I am very happy to see that you are attending this event in such a large number, exceeding 400. As I told you before, legal education has undergone a drastic change in our country and certainly changed for the better. And so have the career prospects after graduating with a law degree. Earlier prospects were very limited, but now a law degree throws open a myriad of different and exciting career paths. Legal career is not only limited to litigating in courts, but one, according to his or her interest, can pursue a career in law firms as in-house counsel for corporations, in the field of legal journalism, in non-profit sectors, NGOs, and even in international organizations and world diplomacy. In short, now for law students, the sky is the limit. In this context, the present annual flagship event will help ignite a keen interest in young minds in the realm of international criminal law and international humanitarian law, and will inspire you to pursue a career in various world organizations and NGOs working in that sector. I have been told that the present competition seeks to give a first-hand experience at criminal trial advocacy at the International Criminal Court. Unlike other moot court competitions, the present one focuses on different parties, prosecutor, defense, and victim, all of whom are vital to the process of conducting international criminal trial. The participants assume the role of the respective parties, and the competition entails successfully justifying the same. Participants are supposed to engage in practical aspects of a criminal trial, like briefing a witness, examining and cross-examining the witness, etc. I'm sure participants will benefit themselves immensely and will gain rich hands-on experience. Friends, the 20th century witnessed catastrophes unleashed on the human race by the two world wars. Grave war crimes and crimes against humanity were perpetrated during those trying times. The tragedy of Holocaust is still etched in the collective memory of the entire human race. At that time, a need was felt that perpetrators of these grave crimes should not go unpunished, and the idea regarding some sort of international criminal adjudicating authority was conceived. At this juncture, it is pertinent to mention about the famous Nuremberg trials, which were held to prosecute ex-Nazi leaders and officials for committing horrendous crimes against humanity. After the defeat of the Nazi Germany in the Second World War, there was a general consensus prevailing among the leaders of the Allied powers that perpetrators of grave crimes against humanity should not go unpunished and must be brought to book. Finally, agreement for prosecution and punishment of the major war criminals of the European Axis was signed in August 1945, and pursuant to this agreement, International Military Tribunal came into existence for prosecuting the war criminals. This was primarily an ad hoc tribunal constituted for a specific purpose. It was at this time that seats for an international criminal court and international criminal law were sown. Further, international criminal tribunals were also constituted in early 1990s in view of large-scale atrocities committed in erstwhile Yugoslavia and in Rwanda. International Criminal Tribunal for erstwhile Yugoslavia was constituted in 1993 in view of large-scale atrocities committed during the Yugoslav wars, and the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda was constituted in 1994 following the genocide which occurred in that country due to ethnic tensions between communities. However, it was only in early 2000s that International Criminal Court saw the light of the day and was formally established in July 2002. The preamble to the Rome Statute of International Criminal Court vividly captures the underlying spirit behind the establishment of the institution of International Criminal Court. It states that being mindful of the unimaginable atrocities that have been committed on millions of men, women, and children, it is determined to put an end to the impunity of perpetrators of crime and to contribute to prevention of these crimes. A lot of time has passed since the catastrophe of the Second World War, and the world has changed at an unprecedented pace, and technological advancement has substantially altered not only the way things are done, but also the thought processes of all concerned. The world has come a long way from the days when messages used to be sent by telegrams, and I think none of the students might have even read a telegram because that has become a thing of the past. The telegraph offices have also been closed down, and the one telegraph office that was working just across the road near the Bombay High Court is now handed over to the Bombay High Court for its administrative work. So now two persons sitting in different parts of the world, thousands of miles away, can chat face to face with the help of just stable internet connection. But then scientific advancements can turn out to be either a good or a bad, depending upon where and how technology is employed. For instance, drones can be used for delivering pizzas, or they can be used for raining bombs. As we all know, in the last 2 years of pandemic, video conferencing enabled us all to study law and to argue cases in courts virtually without having to step out of home, thus altering our workspaces. The breakthrough in artificial intelligence is going to substantially alter our work patterns as well. The area of warfare has also not remained isolated from the advancements in science and technology. The modern weapon system has rendered wars bloodier than ever before. With advancement in technology, a commander sitting in a distant part of the world can rain bombs in another part of the world with the help of unmanned bomb-carrying vehicles or drones. The advent of lethal autonomous weapon systems has opened a Pandora's box of questions relating to moral and ethical considerations. The autonomous weapon system divorces the human element from the choice of target and the time of strike. Lethal autonomous weapon systems employ computer algorithms to independently identify and pursue targets and victims without manual human control of the system. United Nations General Secretary Antonio Guterres has termed the autonomous weapon system as morally repugnant and politically unacceptable. As the literature for this competition points out, as the distance between nearest human actor and the weapon grows, so does the culpability gap. This allows the misconduct to go unpunished because accountability cannot be attributed to an identifiable, natural, or legal person. Human rights organizations around the world have been campaigning for a total ban on lethal autonomous weapon system. But unfortunately, the United Nations Convention on Certain Conventional Weapons failed to reach a consensus on ban at its 5-year review meeting held in Geneva in December 2021. In the above context, the theme of the present competition, individual criminal liability relating to use or deployment of autonomous warfare technology and allied assault weapon system, is quite relevant. Without much ado, I declare the International Criminal Trial Advocacy Competition 2022 open. My best wishes are with all the participants. God bless you all. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your inspiring address and also setting the stage for the theme of this year's SICTA on the use and deployment of autonomous warfare technology and assault weapon systems. Thank you. Your support and continuous connection with Symbiosis Law School Pune is truly enriching for both our faculty and students. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I would now like to call upon Dr. Danaji Jadhav, Deputy Director, Administration, Symbiosis Law School, Pune, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks for the inaugural session.
Thank you, Lasya. Good evening to all the dear students, participants of the SICTA, faculty members, and guests. It's my pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks of this inaugural session of 7th Symbiosis International Criminal Trial Advocacy Competition. On behalf of the Symbiosis Society, Symbiosis International University, Dean SIU, and Director of SLS Pune, I thanks to Honorable Justice Mohit G. Shah, former Chief Justice of Bombay High Court, for his august presence for this inaugural session. Sir has aptly referred that the scope of law is not confined to the traditional practice. There are a lot many avenues and opportunities are available to the student of law where they can try it as a career option. He has also aptly referred that such kind of skill sets are the life and blood of the profession of an advocacy, and it is incumbent on the part of a legal institution to impart such a skill set to the students of law. Thank you so much, sir, for such a brilliant address. I take this opportunity to thank Barrister Tapas Kanti Baul, guest of honor of today's function, a prosecutor of International Crime Tribunal Bangladesh, for his valuable and informative address. Thank you, sir, for sharing experience and expertise at International Crime Tribunal. I also express my sincere thanks to Dr. Shashikala Gurpur, Dean SIU and Director of SLS Pune, for her profound welcome address. She has been always a guiding force and mentor and monitoring of any kind of such event, which actually provide a platform for the student of law to exhibit their skill and talents. Thank you, madam. Last but not the least, I take this opportunity to thank Professor Virendra and team of SBA, supported with Professor Shubham Shandilya and Prachi Mishra, who are relentlessly working on this 7th Symbiosis Law School International Criminal Trial Competition. At the last, I take this opportunity to thanks to our sponsors, including alumni, Advocate Sri Sampath Balsu, Advocate Manan Sangvi, Titan Company Limited, Ivan D'Souza and Dr. Mrs. D'Souza, Harshal Badbade, Advocate Shravant Tandra for their kind support. Last, I thanks to all the participants, international participants, for participating in this competition and making this event as really a global competitions. Thank you very much. A very good evening to you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your vote of thanks. Before we conclude the inaugural ceremony, I would like to request all our dignitaries, deputy directors, alumni members who are present and participants to kindly switch on your videos for a group photo.
Tapaskanti sir, you will have to be in the frame, I think, in the center, a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Are we done?
Take one more.
Done. Thank you.
Thank you, Amit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
all.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Justice Shah and
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Barrister
Thank you, sir.
Tapas. Yeah.
All.
Thank you. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.